What's going on, everybody? Bros and Beers, Ron and Nick, live on YouTube for the first time ever. How's it going, Ron? How you doing?
It's going good. Doing good. Been pretty active in fantasy football tonight, doing like some trades and stuff, and funny enough, that is what we're going to be talking about tonight too. So kind of nice that we've been literally living the content we're about to be talking about right now.
Yeah, dude, I just did 2 trades in our Dynasty League, and one of them was with you and I, so that was awesome. We did, I gave up a third this year in our rookie draft and a first next year, plus Zamir White for Jared Goff, and a fourth this year and a fifth next year. So
Yeah, my team's not very good.
You've had a little bit of injuries, though, haven't you?
I've just had bad luck with matchups. I have the second most points scored against me.
Oh, yeah, that at least the
running
median scoring has helped a little bit.
Yeah, my running backs are not too good either. I'm pretty weak there.
True. Well, that's
So
just
that also doesn't help. And yeah, I got some injuries. Olave's been down last couple weeks, and yeah, just I don't know. I feel like I'm not having any luck, and my team's not doing too hot. So yeah, it is what it is.
It's always next year, I guess. You're still 500,
Yeah.
I think, aren't you? Or are you? No, what are you?
No, I'm 5-9.
Oh,
5-9.
yeah, that doesn't help.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't help.
Oh well, what do you do? So yeah, game plan for the night
Yeah.
is we're going to go over how to successfully make some trades, how to start the trade talks, different strategies for different formats, and I don't know, maybe some people to target for buy low, sell high. If you got anyone, I got a few players.
Yeah.
So yeah, to start it off, how do you recommend to people to start a trade? Because I think people struggle, like maybe too offensive of trades, or like being people are just afraid to trade, and it's the greatest thing ever, part of fantasy.
It is fun trading in fantasy football. You know, especially when you can trade with picks and stuff like that. It's fun when you know you have a good team and you're trying to trade to make your team better, maybe sacrificing some picks for next year to try to win now, which I know you and I have both done. Even tonight, for example, in our Dynasty League, like you were talking about, trading some picks for a player that is going to help you now. But yeah, I think the best way to go about it is just shooting somebody a text or a DM and trying to see what they're willing to give up or what they're looking for. You know, I've had trade offers this year where people don't DM or text me about it beforehand and they just send me this crappy offer, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna
I'm gonna
trade with you.
entertain that.
I'm not even gonna counter. Like, I don't know what to say to that. But yeah, I think the good thing is the best way is to probably, put out some feelers, see how people are feeling, to try to just gauge in a conversation what they're looking for, and you guys can kind of talk about what might be best for both teams in that situation.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I have been on both sides of just crappy trade offers where it's like, and their response is always, if I ever say anything, it's like, well, counter it. And it's like, well, how do I even counter that? It's literally just building a new trade. You sent me 2 pieces that I don't even want, and I'm giving up like 2 of my studs or 1 of my studs. And I think, I don't know, if you can send a trade that you're like close to being okay with, is the best way to start. So like if your like final asking price, let's just say, is like for Jamar Chase, and you're like, all right, my final asking price is like J.K. Dobbins and Nico Collins. This is just a hypothetical. Maybe start with
Mm-hmm.
Nico Collins and your worst running back. And if they take it, great. And if not, then all right, maybe I'll go with my next best running back. They don't take that,
Yeah.
all right, then here's my final offer of like, you know, that might even be too much for Jamar Chase at this point, but
Yeah.
and then picks help where you can same thing like tonight. I thought we were pretty close on our original talks. We had talked about a third and a second originally, and then you made a good point of in a superflex, quarterbacks are worth a lot more. So
Yeah.
let's do a
Typically,
first.
they're like typically the first round in a like in a draft, the first round in the super flex is mostly quarterbacks. So with
Correct.
super flex, they hold a lot more value than pretty much any other position because typically you're getting a lot of points out of your quarterbacks on a week to week basis.
Especially in a rookie draft. Like I bet you this year,
Right.
the first 5 picks were Caleb, Daniels, maybe May, but then you got Neighbors and Harrison. So like,
Yeah.
and one thing that can help too is like, I don't think you're gonna do much with Zamir White, but like if you're going to drop someone anyways, just be like, hey, like I'm gonna drop this person. Do you want him for free? Or
Mm-hmm.
like if you need to throw in a little bit of fab or like a late round pick. This is all in dynasty or keeper, but in like a redraft league, if they're like, I'm not really sure, throw in a third player that is
Yeah.
you're gonna drop. Who knows? It might be the thing that pushes the needle.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's every trade situation is different depending on what kind of league you're playing in. Like we said, when you're playing in a league that has like keepers, I mean, there are leagues that are allow draft pick trading. There are leagues that don't. Obviously, trading picks
It makes it
always
easier.
helps if you don't have something else that the player wants, or if like that player is not having a or if that I should say that team is not having a good year this year and they're looking for next year, trying to do whatever they can to help their team out next year. Obviously, having picks to give up is huge if you're willing to sacrifice those picks to try to help your team win now,
Hmm.
and you want to play that risk reward game. It makes trading a lot easier in terms of like not trading draft picks, kind of like you said, where you're just trading players for players. It usually comes down to if somebody has a really good player and needs a little bit more depth, and you have some depth and you're looking for like a superstar. It's just kind of like figuring out most of trading is figuring out what other people need, what you need, and what you can do to kind of
Make
meet
it
in
a
the middle to
win-win.
make it a win-win and make it feel like everybody's coming out better on the other side.
Yeah, and like if you need to figure out how close people are, like players, especially like different positions. Like if you're trading a
Mm-hmm.
running back for a wide receiver, like my thing that I will use, like if you want to look at rankings, like just look at how they've done this year. Like if you're trading the 6th overall running back for the 5th overall wide receiver, I mean I get it that some players are just over exceeding their expectations. That helps, but like look at their schedule as well. Like if you're gonna trade one of the best
Mm-hmm.
running backs for a good wide receiver and your running back has a terrible playoff schedule. So that's another thing is like if you know your team's going to make the playoffs, I try to when trading players like I might overpay for a player if I know their playoff schedule is a cakewalk just because they're going to help me like more so in redraft. Like that player is really going to help
Right.
me. I'd have to look at schedules. So let's just say like Jonathan Taylor has a really hard playoff schedule. He's a really good player. I might say,
Yeah.
like for even like Brian Thomas Jr. right now, if he has a good playoff schedule, which I think he does, I might make that trade if I've got a lot of running backs and I really badly need a wide receiver. That might be a little
Yeah.
much. That's not a great example, but like you can kind of or vice versa if you're like lower third of the league and you just need a win now and you can't really worry about playoffs in redraft, it might be the exact opposite. Where like, okay, or I'm gonna overpay for someone to help me now, and I'm not gonna worry about playoffs. If I get a couple victories, the trade deadline's in a couple weeks, you can make a different trade then.
Mm-hmm.
So it your
Yeah,
situation
for sure.
matters on where you're at in the standings and how badly. Like if you have no running backs, like the trade I made a couple weeks ago, where I basically traded Jefferson for Dobbins and Kyron. I needed running backs. I had Chase Brown and Tajay Spears. Oh, and Zamir White as my starting running backs. So I had Nico, Jamison Williams, Jaden Reed. Who else? I've got one other wide receiver. I could afford to get rid of Jefferson too.
Yeah.
So, you got any players that people could maybe buy low on or sell high? Just off the top of your head.
Um, well, one big buy low player that, when
Smooth.
healthy, is one of the best fantasy football players in the NFL, CMC.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously hasn't played. He's not supposed to be coming back till week 10.
No.
But if he's on a team that's not, a lot of teams that drafted him this year probably aren't doing too well.
No.
And so, again, if it's a league you're trading draft picks in,
Let's do redraft only.
maybe redraft only.
Yep.
Well, redraft, no pick trading. It could be somebody
Yep.
where, you know,
Who would you trade? Who would you be okay with trading for CMC right now if you're thinking you're going to make the playoffs? Rashad White.
I mean, that's, yeah,
Would you trade James
it's
Cook for CMC?
not right now. James Cook is playing really well, and Buffalo's good, and they've emphasized the run really well
Okay.
this year. I think they've definitely made it a point this year to run the ball a
Would
little
you
bit more.
somebody who's a sell high? Would you trade Tank Bigsby for CMC?
Yeah, I would,
Okay.
because ETN's he'll maybe miss another week or two, and when CMC comes back, he's going to be a focal point of their offense because they're already down Ayuk.
Mm-hmm.
They've just had a lot of injuries. I mean, they still might give Mason some work just because he's been so good this year, but I mean, it's Christian McCaffrey. When he's healthy, he's one of the best running backs in the NFL. So, and you get him back for the playoffs, he could end up being a league winner.
Would you trade Josh Jacobs for CMC?
No, I think Jacobs is another buy low player right now, or maybe not buy like super low,
Mm-hmm.
but I think you might be able to get him a little bit cheaper. Pretty sure he just scored his first touchdown last week, and it wasn't. That's false. He
Like
had one
if
rushing
you had
touchdown a couple weeks ago.
Jacobs trading for CMC.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. I'd want to keep Jacobs.
Okay. How about I don't know if you got any other ideas. Let me know. Okay. How about sorry to kind of flip around a lot. Tyreek Hill. He could be a good buy low option. Would you trade
Yeah.
Brian Thomas Jr. for Tyreek Hill if you're a Brian Thomas Jr. owner?
I think if he's emerging as the number one receiver in Jacksonville. It seemed like they kind of got some stuff figured out last week. New England's not a terrible defense. Tyreek's getting Tua back. When Tyreek, I mean, we know how good Tyreek has been with Tua at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of a
It's Close.
In redraft, man, I think with his pedigree, with his quarterback coming back, I think if you can trade Thomas for Hill, that might not be a bad swap.
How about? Sorry, I'm gonna keep firing off players. I want to pick your brain,
Yeah, you're
Ron.
good.
Would you trade Amari Cooper for Tyreek Hill?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah, I would.
so maybe. Ooh. Would you trade? Let me think. Who's another player that you could sell high on? Ah. Would you trade George Pickens for Tyreek Hill? Now that he has Russell Wilson,
Hmm.
maybe getting a little bit more
He
targets.
looks good with Russell. Pickens is good.
Hmm.
I mean, the only thing holding Tyreek back is Tua getting hurt again.
Correct.
Which, as long as he's not diving headfirst into somebody's thigh, he should be able to stay on the field.
It's still risky. I mean, with
So
with that head
it's
injury, all it takes is one. He could stay in the pocket, and all of a sudden he gets hit and he's out again. It does. He doesn't even have to
I
leave
know
the pocket.
it's true.
Would you trade? How about this? T. Higgins or Tyreek Hill?
T Higgins is good, but he's second fiddle in Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's
Like
I'm trying to
he's
just
good, but his ceiling is so high because you have Jamar Chase on the other side, and Jamar Chase is, I'm pretty sure, the highest scoring wide receiver in the NFL right now in terms of fantasy football.
uh
Um, Jamar Chase is, I mean, I think if we're going based off of ceilings and like potential to win you a championship and get you through the playoffs and win a championship, and you want to take that risk, definitely go for Tyreek. If
okay.
you're looking like maybe your team like maybe you have other people that you can rely on your team to get their ceiling points, and you need that solid player to get you like 12 to 15 points every week, then you want to probably keep Higgins. And again, it's all dependent on like can Tua stay on the field, because Tyreek's floor with Tua is pretty high as
It's like
well, and
15 points.
his ceiling is probably the highest of any receiver in football, like up there with Jamar Chase and like CeeDee Lamb,
Hmm.
Justin Jefferson. I mean,
If
it's all dependent
you're
on situation and how your team's doing, and like, but yeah,
if you are
oh, that's
a
tough.
Mike Evans owner, you just lost
Hmm.
him. Would you trade him? So this is now the other end. Would you trade
Hmm.
Mike Evans for JSN with DK Metcalf missing time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although now that man, again, it's like one of those things where
This is the stuff that people have to
it's
like are
it,
probably dealing with right now.
yeah, it's situational again. Like Metcalf is week to week. So right now, like
If you need a victory,
if you need wins now, yeah. Long term, if you have depth and you can live without Mike Evans for, he's not expected to come back until week 12. If you
yeah,
can live without him for the next 4 weeks,
if you need a victory,
then
would you
don't
do
do
it?
it,
Like
because
if you're 500 right now, you're like sixth place. That one's tough because JSN
yeah, I
is.
mean, he's good. We know he's good. He's just got other people around him that are kind of capping his production.
Hmm.
and Metcalf is he has a big target percentage in that offense. And now that he's not playing, he's sprained his knee. That's kind of what Love did. He missed 2 games, so Metcalf could miss 2 games and come back. Mike Evans isn't that with the hammies. I think those are a little trickier with like the soft tissue because it could be like you could miss 1 to 2 weeks. You could miss 5 to 6.
He could be struggling with that the whole year.
Yeah, I mean, as with somebody that's had like hamstring injuries myself, and obviously I'm not a professional athlete, but man, if you don't let those things heal like 100%, they stick around and mess with you.
When Evans is older, he's 31, I think, is there 30?
Yeah, he's 30, 31 years old, and I mean, like just me, like playing softball, pulling a hamstring. If you don't let it heal all the way, you feel it every time you take a stride.
Mm-hmm.
And I come watching Mike Evans out there on the field last night, limping everywhere. I'm like, dude, how is he even doing this?
Dude, the first touchdown catch he had, I thought he was hurt there. It was a weird landing.
He came up limping. Yeah, man, I don't know, because if your team can survive losing Evans and he does come back week 12, you have no Godwin the rest of the year. So Evans is going to be getting a huge target share from Baker once he comes back.
Who's the next guy you think? Trey Palmer or McMillan? Or Shepard? Like, who's the guy to pick up?
I bet it's Trey Palmer.
I could see it. It could honestly be where 2 guys are McMillan and Palmer, just kind of nobody does great.
Right.
I bet you Otten takes a step forward.
Yeah,
he had a monster game last night.
He was getting fed late in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very true. He could very well be taking a step forward.
So, all right now I got another question for you.
All right.
Cade Otton or Sam Laporta with Jameson Williams suspended?
Oh, man.
I'm just going to keep firing off.
I may be biased in this one because I have Laporta on 2 teams this year, and I want to just look at this real quick because I have something up right in front of me.
Sure.
He's got 8, 10, 14, 15, 17 targets through 6 games.
Laporta.
Sam Laporta. 17 targets through 6 games. That's not even 3 a game.
No. It's 2.8.
So, yeah. I'm like...
I might start
I'm at the
Cole
point
Kmet
where if
over
I
him.
could get rid of him... Yeah,
Actually, I don't have Kmet anymore. Never mind.
I think in the leagues that I have him, I'm benching him until he proves to me otherwise that he can do anything. And so, yeah, with Cade Otton showing he's got a bit of a chemistry with Mayfield as probably the most tenured pass catcher on that team right now, that's worked the most with Baker besides that aren't Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. That's another, like...
They have...
I don't know. It just seems like Laporta's just been phased out of this offense, which is crazy because he had such a good year last year. But
I wonder if he's still hurt with that knee, though. I think it was his knee he hurt.
Could be.
I'd have to look at some tape. Yeah. Well, no, it was like game 2, I think it was. 1 or 2, he hurt his knee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's hurt and doesn't have like the same explosiveness that he normally does, and he just is having a tough time getting open, or maybe people are game planning against him. And so because of that, you have like Amon-Ra, who's one of the best route runners in the NFL, can get open really easily. And then you got Montgomery and Gibbs, who like you could give each one of those guys 15 touches a game and easy money. But yeah, Laporta, I don't know, man. If I got an offer for him, for anybody that's been doing any kind of like fantasy production so far this year. Like when you asked me, would you do Laporta for Kelsey straight up? Even though Laporta's a 15th round keeper, like he's not even looking keepable right now
No,
with how
I was gonna see if I could
uninvolved he is in this offense.
see how badly I could get you on that one, and you didn't bite. I'd have to give up another player.
Probably.
Should we make it? Should we make a trade live?
No, I don't. I'm not getting rid of my starters.
Amon Ross,
In that
St.
league.
Brown for who are your running backs again? Marvin Harrison Jr. and Travis Kelsey. And I'll throw in the port.
I'll do Amon Ra for Harrison and Komet.
It's not as enticing.
Dude, Komet's playing better than Kelsey is right now.
I know, but I already have DJ Moore.
So trade him.
I would love to, but I don't know how much I get for DJ Moore. He has yet to go off. He's had one game for I think 20 points.
Yeah,
but
I traded him in another league.
I think
Here's
you know
a
what?
good example of.
I think he's a good buy low.
He could be, yeah. Once him and Williams get on the same page, they'll be killing it. But that's the thing is that Williams and Komet are on the same page right now, and that's why Komet's been doing so good.
Yeah, no, I know. I had Komet, and I dropped him, and now you have him.
Now he's gonna rot on my bench until somebody wants him.
Somebody,
because I can't take Kelsey out.
Yeah, you could trade one of the two, whichever you can get more. So that's another thing when it comes to trading is if you've got two really good players, especially tight ends, or you got 4 wide receivers, you can only start three running backs, whatever it is. If you feel confident in starting any 4 of those wide receivers, any of those 2 tight ends, whichever one you get the best value for, I like trading. I'd rather do that instead of just trading the second guy for whatever I can get.
Yeah.
Like in our league, our keeper league, I'm not going to, but if somebody sent me like a really good offer for Derrick Henry, Jalvin wants him, and I could maybe get James Cook and something else for him.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to, but because dude, Derrick Henry is, I think he's second overall, even with quarterbacks in scoring.
I think he is too.
I could take Jalvin's second round pick, and then he would be out his first, second, and third next year. But then I'd be screwed this year. I don't want to. You have any other?
I mean, you're still in it this year, but
no, I don't. I don't like selling for next year because there's always a chance. You never know. All right, do you have any more buy low, sell high players you want to talk about? That you can think off the top of your head.
I'll just name off a few and not really go
Sure.
too deep into why I feel that way. I definitely think Achan could be
He's a good
a
buy low.
There's a lot of good players that are hurt right now that are going to be coming back from injury later in the season that could be buy low. Like McCaffrey, we talked about.
Cooper Kupp.
Puka, Cooper Kupp, Pacheco.
Debo, maybe.
Debo, yeah. It's always a risk trading for somebody that's hurt, not knowing how healthy they're going to be when they do come back. But yeah, some sell highs. Like, I don't know if you still could after last week, but maybe Kamara.
Yeah.
Who knows when Carr's going to come back, but the Saints have just looked awful.
They can't move the ball.
You're right. They can't move the ball at all.
Would you sell high? Do you think you'd have to sell really high? But what about Barkley? You think what he's doing is for real?
Yeah, because we've seen him do it before, and he's on a better team.
Okay.
And we've, you. I don't know if we've talked about it like in one of our videos, but I know you and I always talk about how like you can't worry about injuries when somebody's healthy.
Mm-mm.
Like we've seen Barkley get hurt before, but he's a running back, but he's healthy and he's playing really well right now. So like you can't, if you have a good offer for Barkley or you're trying to get Barkley, you can't sit there and be like, "Oh, but he could get hurt." Yeah, so could everyone else in the NFL.
Yeah,
Like you
you
can't.
can't. You can't play that card.
I never. That's my one thing is I would never base a trade off of somebody being able to get hurt because literally anybody could get hurt at any moment.
I
And
think
that's just the way football is.
there are some players though that
Grown men beating the crap out of each other.
there are some players that have a little bit more injury risk, but like I feel like a lot of people when I traded for Dobbins kind of flame me because like, oh, he's a piece of glass, and it's like, sure, but he could. You never know.
Right.
Like I'm
And he's been playing pretty well.
correct.
As like an RB2, he's done pretty well for sure.
Correct.
I mean, another maybe you could say Mark Andrews could be either one, honestly, because he scored a couple touchdowns last night. He could be a sell high for somebody looking to
I
get
would
a
sell
tight
high
end,
on
or
him.
somebody could be like, yeah, or somebody could be like, well, hasn't done anything else this year, so I'm not gonna pay too much for him.
Mm-hmm.
Najee Harris could be sell high. He's had a good few weeks. I don't think Jalen Warren has really been 100% healthy like all year.
Mm-mm.
So maybe that's why he's been getting so much work.
Would you buy low on Devonta Smith or Travis Etienne?
Buy low.
I would with Smith. I don't think
Yeah,
Etienne though.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe with Smith, that Jacksonville backfield scares me because Bigsby's been playing so well that I think it's going to be more of an even split even when ETN comes back.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've seen so many backfields now getting turned into a committee that just sucks for us playing fantasy football. All these football coaches are like, yeah, I got three really good running backs, like in Tampa Bay. I got three really good running backs, so I'm gonna use all of them. And like I got Rashad White on two teams, and I didn't play him in either one, and he went out and scored 29 points in PPR. And if I would have played him over another player, I would have won my week. But I'm thinking, there's three guys that are gonna be getting touches. But now, if you think about it, with Evans and Godwin hurt, that could be another big benefactor of like somebody getting. He's always been like a pass catching specialist. That could be another guy that's going to see more work going forward, making catches out of the backfield, maybe lining him up like in the slot or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be another like.
Let Bucky Irving do a lot more running and let Rashad White do some catching.
Yeah, for sure.
I was, if you want to hear something funny, I'm looking over in one of my redraft leagues, the draft results, and somebody drafted Calvin Ridley over Neighbors, Higgins, Mari Cooper, George Pickens, Zay Flowers, Chris Godwin. Who else was still on the board? Adunze.
Wow.
Brian Thomas Jr.
Dude, that's crazy.
I mean, like, before the year started, I guess we didn't know what Ridley was going to be, but, like, looking back, like, that's pretty bad. Khalil Shakir, but he wasn't drafted very high. That's bad. He was one of the players I was low on.
I don't know why.
Do you?
I don't know why anybody would have been super high on Ridley. He's going to a new team with a unestablished quarterback.
The team that drafted him is now 7-0. Yeah, that team
Wow, he must have had a good draft everywhere else.
He also drafted Kelsey in the first round, 8th overall. He drafted Kelsey, then Josh Allen, Joe Mixon. How is
Well,
this
that's
guy?
why.
Stephon Diggs, Najee
Mm.
Harris. How is this guy 7-0? He drafted
He might
Brandon
have really good matchups.
Aubrey in the 8th round. San Francisco defense, dude. Taysom Hill. I don't know. Whatever. Are you
He's been
ready to?
getting all the good matchups, probably.
I think he's first in points. But are you ready to
Okay.
do a redraft of the first 2 rounds in a 12 team? You want to do 12 or 10 team? So 20 or 24 players.
Hmm.
Also, for anyone
Let's
live
do.
in the chat, if you have any questions about trades, waivers, anything fantasy football related, we can answer them live on the chat. But we're gonna do a
Hmm.
2 round redraft based on what we know and looking forward.
Yeah, basically, we're almost halfway through the year.
We are. We are halfway through the
Seeing,
regular
see,
season.
we know how everybody's been playing. If we had to redraft,
Let's do 10 team.
okay, let's yeah, let's redraft with knowing what we know now. If we could
In
go back
PPR.
to where, go back to the beginning, being guys from the future and redraft for this year, basically.
Well, we'll just draft from now going. If we just were to draft from now going forward.
Moving forward, sure.
Yeah. So I'll let you have the
All
number one
right.
pick. Who are you taking? PPR.
I have the
Standard
number one
format.
pick.
So quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, flex, tight end, kicker, defense.
I think you gotta go with, man. All the top wide receivers are kind of haven't been a little rough. Chase and Jefferson are having good years, but the wide receiver has just kind of been a down position so far this year.
Mm-hmm.
Quarter, there's been some quarterbacks playing really well, but we all know the most important position in fantasy football is running back, and the guy that's been, oh, there's actually two guys I feel like you could go with right here.
I would say 3, but yeah.
And yeah, three, maybe four. But I think the guy that's, I think has the higher ceiling just because of his pass catching ability is probably Saquon Barkley.
Wow. Okay.
There's another. I think the other player that I could have went with right here is Derrick Henry. He's not getting
That's what I
much
was
work
thinking.
as a pass catcher, but Baltimore is so good. I mean, it's a toss up. You could do either one. Baltimore's been playing so good the last 5 weeks. Where, I mean, you saw last night, Henry. All he needs is one carry to go 81 yards. The dude's 30 years old, but he's still built like a brick S house. And
So who are you taking?
I think another thing too is like if we're going from here to the rest of the season, Barkley's already had his bye.
Correct.
So you don't get Henry for week 14. So I think that also plays a factor, but I think with the pass catching ability in a PPR format, I'm going to take Barkley.
Okay.
I think with ceiling he's a lot higher. I think he has a lot higher ceiling because of that pass catching for PPR. Because he can, even if, like, if Henry doesn't have a good game rushing, he can't really make up for it with catching passes and receiving yards. Obviously, we haven't seen him have, like, a terrible. I mean, the first couple weeks were a little rough, but he scored touchdowns in terms of getting yards and stuff. And he scored a touchdown in every game so far. That's just unreal. Yeah, man, it's a total toss up. If I gotta go with like ceiling and stuff like that,
Barkley.
I'd go with Barkley.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I had So we're not really going to worry about teams because we're only doing 2 rounds. So if I had the second overall pick, I'm taking Brees Hall just for the receiving work.
Yeah.
He has been
He had
a
100 yards last week.
little bit of a disappointment overall because you draft him as a top 3 player in most leagues, top 5, let's just say. So
Yeah.
number 2 overall pick, I'm going Brees Hall. Who are you going with number 3?
Number 3, since he's there, is Derrick Henry for sure.
Okay.
I think the only other person I would put in consideration. Actually, I shouldn't say that.
I know who I'm going at 4.
I'll stick with Henry because he's having a good year and he's just been absolutely dominant so far.
Okay.
So yeah, who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Jamar Chase.
I think that's yeah.
Just for the fact that he's been the best. Well, we've had St. Brown's been fine. Jefferson's been fine. CeeDee Lamb has been underwhelming. Tyreek Hill has been pretty bad. You could maybe make the case for like Jahmyr Gibbs if you wanted to go running back. God, Joe Mixon's been great, but I still wouldn't take him. Drake London, I think he's the second. He's number 2 wide receiver overall, I believe. I'm still going Chase.
Number 5.
Yep, 5th
He's
overall.
Number 5.
You're going 5th overall for the wide receivers.
No. I was just saying that London is 5th overall for wide receivers right now.
Yeah. Speaking of 5, who are you taking 5th overall then? We got, so just to recap quick, Barkley, Hall, Henry, Chase.
Barkley, Hall, Henry, and Chase.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stick with the running back theme.
Sure.
Because when he has been on the field and has been playing, he's pretty much been unstoppable. Joe Mixon. I know you just mentioned him, but
okay, I can't argue it. Dude, he's been.
I think it's just been so thin at running back so far this year that I don't know, man. It's hard not to want to take somebody that's been playing as well as he has when he is on the field.
So number 5,
I'll take Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon. Number 6, I'm gonna stick with wide receivers. You've been kind of taking all the good running backs. There's one more running back in my mind that would be worth it. 2 actually. There's 2 running backs that could be worth it here, but I'm gonna go with our hometown boy because he's just been so consistent. I'm gonna go with JJ.
Yeah.
Can I get a skull real quick? Get a skull chant.
Yeah, let's get a.
So quick recap. We got Barkley at 1, Hall at 2, Henry 3, Chase 4, Mixon 5, Jefferson 6. Who are you taking at 7 in a PPR draft?
Number 7.
Numero 7. I was like, I just got a draft that we did earlier, my redraft. I just got the actual draft board picked up so I can see the players.
Yeah, so that's what I have too.
You still got like Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra, AJ Brown, Kyron Williams, Drake London, Marvin Harrison Jr., James Cook, Nico Collins. Ooh, because CMC.
Man. So are we going to do injuries or no injuries? Well, we got to do injuries.
Well, yeah, knowing what we know now.
Because otherwise...
So normal,
Yeah.
if the season started this week, who would you be taking? So like, CMC could be out for another 3 weeks. Do you want to take him already?
Yeah.
Mike Evans is hurt. Puka hurt. It'd be like in
I
the regular,
think
like at the beginning of the year, if you knew that somebody's going to be out for 3 weeks or 5 weeks, because you're got to think about percentage wise.
I think at this point, I would take Gibbs.
Okay, Jahmyr Gibbs.
He's on a good team. They're the highest scoring offense in the league right now.
Yep.
Montgomery just got banged up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Knee contusion, which could be big for a running back, and they might ease him back. But Jahmyr Gibbs is probably the most explosive running back in the NFL, and he's a good pass catcher. And again, he's on a really good offense, a really good team. He doesn't get the volume that some of these other guys get, but it's what he does with the volume he gets that I really like. And yeah, I'll go with Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay. For the 8th pick, I'm going to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown. So just to recap,
Nice.
I mean, he's just a ball hog. JMO's suspended for 2 weeks. Laporta hasn't done much. They've been running the ball a lot more, so he doesn't have the same volume as most years, but he's coming off a big week. But just to recap, our redraft of the first 2 rounds, we got Barkley at 1, Hall at 2, Henry, Chase, Mixon, Jefferson, Gibbs, St. Brown. Who are you taking at 9? No. Yeah, 9. 9th overall pick. You still got some bangers.
Yeah.
This is wild that some of these players are dropping this far.
I
But,
know.
I mean, we're halfway through the season.
Yeah, there is a lot of players on here. Like there's Bijan, Kyron,
CD still.
CD, Tyreek,
AJ Brown, Jonathan Taylor.
The person that I think I like the most right now in this spot.
You got Garrett Wilson, Drake London.
Yeah, I think the person I like
Nico.
right here is probably just because this is another person that was hurt for a few games, but when they've been playing, they've been pretty dominant. AJ Brown.
Is that who you're
He
going
scored
with?
it. Yeah, he scored a touchdown in every game he's played so far. He only had 5 targets last week against the Giants, but they freaking blew him out. And I think he's had, I don't know, he's a big threat anytime he touches the ball, whether it's him burning somebody down the sideline on a fly route or catching a slant and breaking 7 tackles and going to the end zone. Kind of like Chase.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I like what he's doing. I got him on one of my teams that I have him and Chase on.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't.
Still
But
salty.
yeah, I like Brown. I love his rest of the season outlook. He's got Jalen Hurts as his quarterback. He's got Devontae Smith on the other side of the ball, so you can't really do too much to take away Brown because Smith's there too, who is, one of the best wide receiver 2s in the NFL. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Brown.
Okay. So that's at 9. At 10, there's one player I do want to go here, but I can't let this player drop anymore. And I think the Cowboys will pick it up. I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb, dropping all the way to the tail end of the first round.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
which
thinking.
is insane.
I was thinking of him too because I do think the Cowboys are gonna try to
when he's still
get whatever that. Yeah.
he's still fine. Like, he's not having a great year per se by his standards, but he still has almost 10 targets a game. He's averaging 80 yards a game. Only the problem is he only has 2 touchdowns, but he's still averaging a little bit over 5 catches. So like, he's still elite, but you drafted him as, you know, so here's the thing about CeeDee Lamb. If he had even 3 or 4 more touchdowns, it'd be a totally different story. Because right now he's averaging 5 for 80 every game. That's 13 points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's just not getting the touchdowns, which pushes him up to 19 then.
Right. Right now he's the number 16 wide receiver. And I think if he has 2 more touchdowns, he's probably top 10.
Exactly. So I like
that pick.
Ceiling is insane. But before we go on to the second round, so we're going to do a snake draft. So I'm going to pick again. Our first pick, we had Saquon Barkley, Breece Hall, Derrick Henry, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, Justin Jefferson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, A.J. Brown, and CeeDee Lamb. So if I got another pick, I'm going to go... I'm going to go back-to-back wide receivers. I'm going Drake London. Like, I wanted to go Kyron there, but you know me. I love going wide receiver heavy. So that team has CeeDee Lamb now and Drake London going into the second half. I would be ecstatic with that.
Yeah.
So now the second pick of the second round, the team that you're picking for now has A.J. Brown already. Who are you drafting?
Shit, I didn't mean to do that. Oops. I think I would probably... Man. It's a toss-up between 2 players.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them... I think is the better player, but he's kind of inconsistent when it comes to the volume he sees, but this other guy pretty much gets all the running back touches.
Mm-hmm. I know what you're talking about.
I think right now you got to go Kyron.
That's what I was thinking.
He's with the volume that he's gotten, he's made good work of it. He's a true 3-down back. Rams have been playing from behind a lot this year. They drafted Corum in the 3rd round, and he still isn't doing anything. I mean, Kyron's lowest score this year is 14.4. I mean, he didn't even catch a pass last week, and he still ran the ball 21 times and had 2 touchdowns. He wasn't super efficient, but not everybody is super efficient. Not everybody is super efficient all the time. But he gets the volume regardless. He's their goal line back. He scored a rushing touchdown in every game so far this year.
Dude, he's been a stud.
He's got 8 rushing touchdowns so far this year.
That's got to be close to Derrick Henry. He scored a
touchdown in every game, just like Derrick. He's got 9 total so far through the year. He's a touchdown machine. I mean,
that's insane.
Touchdowns are the big moneymaker in fantasy. So when you got a guy that's getting all the work, getting all,
he's getting the money touches.
Got to go with that. Oh yeah, for sure.
The green zone.
Mm-hmm.
So for the 3rd pick, this team already has Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I'm tempted, just because of how good he's been, to go to a completely different position. But if it was me drafting, I don't like doing it this early, and I'm talking about Lamar Jackson. just because he's been that good.
Yeah.
I'm going to go rest of season. This is where it's close. So I'm thinking between Bijan and James Cook. And if you think up to this point, it's got to be James Cook.
It's close for sure.
Bijan hasn't been great, though.
Last couple weeks, he's been better.
He's been better, yes.
And he also, in PPR, hasn't scored under 10 points all year.
Correct. He's been better.
But 4 touchdowns is meh.
But James Cook has just been that
James has 6 touchdowns. Yeah, it's a toss-up between those two.
Man,
James Cook is on a better team.
He is. I think I still gotta go. I gotta go Bijan. I'm gonna go Bijan.
Okay.
So, just to quick recap: Drake London, Kyron Williams, Bijan Robinson in the second round. Who are you going with the 4th pick?
And who does this team have right now?
This team has Jahmyr Gibbs already.
They have Jahmyr Gibbs.
I mean, really, you still got like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Jonathan Taylor, Garrett Wilson, A-Chain, Nico Collins, maybe, if you want to take a risk on that. James Cook.
I think since
Kenneth Walker's been great. Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I think with
Kamara.
You said Gibbs, right?
Yep. Let me see.
I think
Malik Neighbors.
For this one, yeah, I think, man, that's so.
Jaden Reed. Dude, Jaden Reed's been really good.
Yeah, Jaden Reed has been really good.
Thomas Jr., like looking forward to him, dude. He's a
Jaden Reed had a down game last week.
He did.
But he is still the number 4 wide receiver.
He is.
But he's been kind of inconsistent. Oh man, you know what? I think
it's because he doesn't have the touchdowns.
Yeah, with Tua coming back this week, I gotta go. No, I can't do it. I'm gonna go Malik Neighbors.
Okay. I thought about it too, but I was like, dude, I just can't trust it. Malik Neighbors. So Jahmyr Gibbs and Neighbors. Talk about a young team. All right, at the 5th pick. So this team already has Justin Jefferson. Oh, man. All right, I got to do it. Oh.
I know where you're going.
It's close between these two. He's been better. Like, he's got a lot of... If he has more touchdowns, this player I'm going to name, he would be way higher. I'm going to go Josh Jacobs. Because...
After you said he needs more touchdowns, I knew it was going to be him.
Like, dude, he's averaging... So he's averaging almost 80 yards on the ground. And... not a lot of receiving work. So, like, the PPR isn't there, but he only has 2 touchdowns. So, still, though, I'm going to go Josh Jacobs with the 5th pick in the second round. So, this next team, you got Joe Mixon already. Who are you going? There's a couple.
I'm going to do Garrett Wilson.
That's a good choice.
He's been seeing a lot of volume. His lowest targets in a game this year is 6. Hopefully, they're playing against Pittsburgh, who Pittsburgh's got one of the better defenses in the league. And, I think getting Devontae is going to help get some coverage off of him as well.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, Garrett Wilson is definitely the better receiver. So I think they're going to still try to get him the ball. So, yeah, I like Garrett Wilson.
He's averaging
he's the same,
almost 15 points a game, so.
Yeah, he's had one game under 10 points. But, yeah, he's too talented. Rodgers is a good quarterback. He knows he needs to get him the ball if they want to win games. So,
yeah. For my next pick, so this team already has Jamar Chase. I'm switching it up just because this guy has been so good. I'm going Lamar Jackson. I don't like going. I will never take a quarterback this early in real life, but just because we're redrafting and in this range, I mean, in the draft I'm looking at, Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes were already off the board. So if you're just talking about somebody taking a quarterback this early, it's got to be Lamar. He's been insane. Yeah. I know Josh Allen's been really good too. They're probably close, but it's just, yeah. So Lamar Jackson going off the board with the 7th pick in the second round. And before I let you continue, I'll do a really quick recap of the second round. So you got Drake London, Kyron Williams, Bijan Robinson, Malik Neighbors, Josh Jacobs, Garrett Wilson, Lamar Jackson. So, who are you taking with the 8th pick in the second round?
And this team drafted Derrick Henry, right?
Yes.
Talked about Reed. Collins has been super good, but don't know when he's coming back. I think right now.
By the way, just to put it in a perspective I was looking it up. Lamar Jackson has almost 50 points more than Josh Allen. That's it, dude. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
And Baker Mayfield's second.
Really good.
Baker Mayfield's only had 5 less points than Lamar Jackson.
That won't last long.
No. Well, he just lost both his players. Sorry. Continue. Who are you taking?
I think right now, just because if I can get this player this late, knowing how good he is, he's getting his quarterback back. I gotta take the shot with Tyreek.
Yeah, I think that's smart.
We obviously know how good he is when he has his quarterback. And I think it's going to help. I think he's going to get some fantasy relevance again.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Tua's coming back.
Yeah. I can't complain. Yeah, dude, he could have been taking 8 picks earlier.
Right.
My next pick.
Agreed.
Is there's a couple players. We only have 2 picks left. So it's between Kamara, maybe Jonathan Taylor. He's not been great. Kenneth Walker's been amazing. I love Jaden Reed. But there's one tight end that you could maybe argue, and that's Brock Bowers. But he's on the Raiders, so I'm not going to take him. I'm going to go...
He's not even the number 1 tight end right now.
Who is?
Do you know that? I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe McBride?
Kittle.
Nope, he's number 8.
No, Kittle's...
Kittle?
They're tied.
Really?
Well, it doesn't show... What I'm looking at right now, it's not showing... That's only because of the touchdowns. They're both... It says 102, but one of them's got to have a decimal higher. And I'm guessing it's Kittle. I'm not going to take Bowers. It's just more so for conversation. I'm
Sure.
I'm going to go CMC here. It could be worth it. I've already got Brees Hall, but Jonathan Taylor. If Nico Collins is healthy, he would have been gone a long time ago. James Cook is still there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go with Jaden Reed. I fully believe that he's going to just be a stud. He's going to have some down weeks just because Love is too good of a quarterback. I'm going to go Jaden Reed.
Okay.
So to match up with Saquon Barkley, who's your last pick?
You mentioned James Cook is still there.
Kenneth Walker's still there.
Kenneth Walker is still there, and like you said, Kenneth Walker has just been a beast.
Kamara's still there. He's been
so far this year.
Kamara's second in scoring overall with a flex position. Kenneth Walker's next out of the available players.
A lot of that is a boom week with 44.
Walker?
No. Oh, Kamara. Kamara gets a lot of catches. The Saints just they just scare me right now.
Well, yeah, he had 8.5 points last week against Denver, but he still has his bye.
Denver's not a good team.
No, but they have a good defense.
Yeah. Looking at his schedule too, it's not a bad schedule. Moving forward.
You got Nico Collins out for another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
CMC's out for a few.
There is one guy I was looking at that's been playing really well this year with a new quarterback, but his quarterback just got hurt last week.
McLaurin?
Is Terry McLaurin.
I like it.
James Cook, Taylor Achane. Wow. I think just because with how well he's playing, I got to go Kenneth Walker. I think if you got Saquon and Kenneth Walker as your starting running backs, and then on the turn here, if we were going to do another round, I would take a wide receiver.
What, Nico?
I think it would... Oh, man. Nico's about to be in his third week of...
He'll miss 2 more weeks.
His IR, yeah.
Otherwise,
that's just minimal. We don't even know if he's coming back right away after he gets off IR. There's been no reports that he's coming back for sure. So that's the scary thing with that.
Otherwise, you got Diggs and Thomas are the next 2 highest receivers so far.
Yeah, and I think...
Dude, and Thomas is blowing up.
Yeah, with Daniels not playing, Thomas has been playing really well. Thomas could be another guy that you could potentially take there. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Zay Flowers has been kind of inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
Puka's returning to practice here.
Same with Cup.
Cup, Devontae. I didn't really like coming into this year, and he just... Yeah, the next 3 rounds would be interesting.
Oh, dude, it's a crapshoot after that.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, for sure.
Tyreek Hill is the 44th wide receiver, and he is yet to miss a game. That's insane.
Yeah, man. He went 26 week 1. Then against Buffalo, when Tua got hurt.
He's gone over
6.6, 7, 8.2. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's insane. For somebody who's been so good.
Jesus, dude. Yeah, 24 yards, 40 yards, 23, 69, and then 8.
Mm-hmm. Nuts.
I think that's probably good enough for tonight, though.
Just for, wow. Yeah, just for perspective, Hill didn't score under 10 last year
Once.
in PPR.
And he's done it 4 times this year.
Mm-hmm. It's
Jalvin, how
crazy
you
how
liking
things
that
can
pick?
change.
Jalvin, I don't think Jalvin will see this, but he traded up to get him.
Yeah. Traded CJ Stroud.
And he hasn't been great either.
He's definitely a good dynasty player. He still is only in his second year. Like, you can't really expect a whole lot out of him.
No.
But he does have a really good offense, so you think that would help, but yeah. Took Tyreek third overall, which obviously at the beginning of the year, before anything happens, you
That was
never know
warranted.
what you're getting into. Like, I mean, look at me. I drafted Marvin Harrison Jr., and I could have had Derrick Henry. Or, well, I wasn't going to take Lamar Jackson because I already had Josh Allen. But yeah, there's a lot of players that didn't get drafted until the end of the second or the beginning of the third that are looking really good right now.
Kyron, he's been a stud.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good for tonight. Like always, like our videos, comment on them. Any fantasy football related questions, whether it's trades, waivers, football things related. We have all our socials below us, below our webcams. So we got Discord, Twitch, X, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. We post other videos on all of our other social medias. If you subscribe to any of them, you'll get notifications on videos or anytime we go live. And yeah, we post a couple times a week. Friday nights we go live on Twitch, drink a couple beers, play some games. It's a good time. So, Good night, everyone. Skol Vikings. Until next time.
Peace out, y'all.